We watch sports for the competition. We watch sports to be on the edge of our seats. I understand that you're emotionally invested, but you'd rather actually have the event take place in a manner that you are competitive and have a shot to win than not. Then you're just snap it off at the end of the first inning, or snap it off at the end of the first quarter of either a basketball game or a football game or the first period of a hockey game or halftime of a college basketball game. Come on now. I mean...
But in terms of how it affects you...
Yeah, but it stinks and it lingers and it's an awful feeling, but I would rather be in it. You've got a shot to win it.
Yeah, but knowing the outcome, knowing you're going to lose. Like, this isn't, I think we're going to win. This is knowing the outcome.
But again, Kathy from Philadelphia called before. She's a Bills fan, and she referred to that they're returning to the scene of the crime, as she referred to the Hail Murray, because the Bills are at the 49ers, who have to play in Arizona for the next couple of weeks because of the Santa Clara County ruling that that no contact sports can take place, practice or otherwise, to December 21st. And I should say that the owner, man who runs the ownership group of the San Francisco 49ers, Jed York's going to join us as our first guest, our second guest on Thursday's show. He'll join us.
Fantastic.
But the exhilaration that she had when Josh Allen was leading the team down the field for a game-tying field goal and said, screw it, I'm going for Stephon Diggs' touchdown. That's amazing.
But they lost.
I know they lost, but at least she was in it watching the game for 3.5 hours as opposed to snapping it off and not even being in it.
Yeah, but knowing the result, knowing that you're going to lose, you want to get blown out.
But you don't really know
But you don't know the result.
Yes, but the question was knowing the result.
Knowing the result.
You'd rather get blown out.
Knowing that I'm going to be gutted on the floor,
yeah,
saving me all that.
Life is hard enough, man. I like Brockman. Put me out my misery.
Put me out of my
early.
misery.
No
I'll still sit and watch it.
It's embarrassing.
I didn't turn that Cowboys Washington football game off on Thursday.
Don Bowie, our resident Saints fan, who has watched, as you know, the Minnesota Miracle, followed by the pass interference that wasn't, followed by Kirk Cousins and a walk-off win. Those are the last three ends of the season. I'm sorry, Don, to recount everything, but I'm setting the stage for you saying in my ear that you'd rather be blown out. I'm not that guy. I'm sorry. I have watched one crossing route after another from the Ohio State put up a 40, 50, to 60 burger. It is an embarrassment I don't want to deal with ever again.
So you'd rather lose
sorry.
on the last
I would
second?
rather lose the way that we lost in the overtime. Yes. I would rather lose that way.
Man.
We were in it.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you get blown out, at least you know, right? There's no doubt in your mind. You can't go back and say, well, in the second quarter, if we would have ran this play.
We weren't even in it.
But you know that you weren't the best team that day.
Does Minnesota have bragging rights over the Saints?
I mean, they won the game.
Excuse me, they won the game, and I know it's not the same rivalry. But does a Los Angeles Rams fan have the ability to go up to the Saints and say, we beat you in that game? Minnesota twice, okay, against the Saints. They've beaten them twice with a miracle, and then Kirk Cousins one and dunning them in a playoff game in their house in the Superdome. Does a Minnesota fan have every right to go up to a Saints fan and say, we're much better than you? Of course not. Does an Ohio State fan have every right to say we dropped a 50 to 60 burger on me? I don't want to hear that from them. No way. Yeah, I'd rather look back at them and have a whole bunch of games where we were in it with them. We put the scare in them, or we almost won it, if not for Big Ten refs on the tape.
Well,
smiling because they're from the state of Ohio, patting Mike Weber in the ass, as one official did. Look it up.
Yeah, but so what? I mean, come on.
I'd rather have that take that you can accuse me of having a tinfoil hat on my head than getting my ass blown out. 60 burger, 50 burger. Yeah, like Liz Whale of our Rich Eisen staff, who I adore 99.9% of the time until she comes and calls in and says, Thanksgiving weekend is usually the week where we kick your ass. We can't do it this week, Rich. Too bad. And they put up a board on the show.
But you're just not as good. You're just not as good. So, you just have to live with that. Whereas, like TJ said, if you get your heart ripped out, you're like, oh, if we had just converted that third down. If we had just made that pass. If we had just stopped them on defense.
Mud stomped and it was not your day. You were not as good as that team.
Yeah, but are you guys so fragile?
So fragile?
Yeah.
You're the fragile one.
How am I fragile?
Bro, you're breaking down right now.
Yeah. Because you're going through all these what ifs. with our scenario, there is no what if.
No, but
you got beat.
Because you don't want to deal with the heartbreak. You're saving yourself the emotional.
Life is hard enough, man.
About,
I go to sports for like a release. Life is hard enough. I don't need my heart broken by 53 guys wearing a star in their helmet. This
is what it's about. This is what we're having a conversation about. It's about emotions and how we can control them or how we are affected by them. That's what it is. I would rather have the heartbreak, the emotion heartbreak, and deal with that than the emotional distress of getting blown out and having somebody throw it in my face for 364 more days.
Yeah, but those
I would much rather deal with the having loved and lost than never having loved at all. I would rather take that approach to life and sports.
If you get blown out or not, they're still going to talk trash on you regardless.
But no, that's not regardless. How many Rams fans could talk trash to the Saints after that NFC Championship game? 0.0. They could easily have said what I said here, which is, hey, Saints, you had a chance to win in overtime. It didn't. Game only went to overtime. You still had a chance to win it. Hey, there was a face mask penalty on Jared Goff in the red zone that didn't get called, and we settled for a field goal. Had that penalty been called as opposed to the one that didn't get – we also had a non-call, Rams fans could say. If that face mask penalty was called, we would have had first and goal. Gurley would have scored from there, even with Gurley mysteriously on a warm-up bike more than he was in a helmet in that game. I mean, that's the conversation they could have had. They couldn't have had, we beat your ass. No way. Even to this day, a Rams fan couldn't look at a Saints fan and say that.
The problem is you're thinking rationally, right? You're thinking like a rational human being. Social media is the exact opposite.
You just accused me of being over-emotional 2 minutes ago.
You can be both.
You can be both.
I mean, that's why we're fans. That's short for fanatic.
If the Rams had won the Super Bowl, that would be one thing. But, we know what happened.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. We also know what happened the last few games against Ohio State with Michigan, right?
Yeah, not close.
I would rather have 4 more results of the game that Wilton Spate almost won than the last 4 results that we've had.
But you're still
any
lost.
day of the week. We still lost. But we're competitive. We're in it.
But then, that just goes
back to
At least
we put a damn scare in him. I mean, put a scare in him as opposed to just letting Ryan Day draw up whatever he wants for Urban Meyer and go. Just keep going. Right. Just keep going. Right. You want to, it was like, hey, it was like Oprah giving away cars. You want a slant route? You want a crossing route? You want a touchdown? You want a touchdown?
What if we take Ohio State out of the equation?
You're talking about a rivalry game.
And what if you make it Michigan State?
Completely different.
I'm talking about a game in which you're the most emotionally invested in, which is, to me, a rivalry game here. I mean,
well, we're talking about like the Super Bowl.
Well, unfortunately for you, you don't have a rival for the last 20 years. You're like the Tiger Woods in the NFL. Honestly, I'm seriously.
No, sure.
Yankees, Red Sox. Come on, brother. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I'd much rather get absolutely destroyed like they did in Game 3 of the 04 than have 03 Game 7.
But that's Game 3. I'm talking about all on the line.
It's all the same.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. We come back, my 4 downs as planned, and we'll take more of your phone calls right
Luis
here.
Gonzalez on line 1.
I would rather have that than Game 7. Then Game 7 wind up 10-0.
You're crazy.
Excuse me. Remember Game 2 of that World Series? Remember Game 2 of that World Series?
I don't.
Look up Game 2 of that World Series right now.
Guys, let me just tell you
Hold on a second. Game 2 of that World Series right now. Look it up.
Let's see.
Was that 0-1?
Game 2 of the 2001 World Series.
4-0.
Then what was Game 1?
Game 1 was 9-1.
There you go. I knew one of the first 2 was a total blowout.
And Game 6, 15-2.
Much rather lose Game 7 the way the Yankees lost it than 15-2, where it's one big 4-hour-long coronation for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Period. End of story. That's the way I look at life. Fact. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.